Hey everyone, this is Fabian here, dialing in from Hamilton, from New Zealand Shores. We're an immigration consultancy. I'm a licensed advisor at New Zealand Shores. And in the light of the upcoming changes and the recent additional information that Immigration New Zealand provided last week, we thought it was time for a catch up to bring our partner employers up to speed with what's coming. We have today speaking Alan Crone, Director at New Zealand Shores, and Charlotte Stockman, who is a licensed advisor, part of our team as well. Turning over to you first, Charlotte, can you first give us a brief overview of these changes for those few employers who may not have read anything about it yet?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. So yeah, these changes have actually been in the air since 2019. So immigration all the way back then proposed that this is what was going to happen, and it was due to actually come into effect last year. But due to COVID and immigration managing their resources, it was pushed out to 2021. Initially was touted as being coming in mid-2021, but we now know it will be coming into effect from the 1st of November, and Alan will touch on that a lot more. The major changes include the first one for employers will be that all employers will need to hold compulsory accreditation if they want to support a person with a work visa. So if you're offering a job to a migrant and they are applying for a visa on the basis of that job offer, you will need to be accredited. The second big change is that 6 categories of work visas are being combined into one. So at the moment that's called the Accredited Employer Work Visa. The name is of course subject to change, but that will be replacing basically the Essential Skills Work Visa and all of its subcategories. The Silver Fern Job Search Visa, Work to Residence Accredited Employer, and Work to Residence Long-Term Skill Shortage List. The accreditation itself and the process moving forward, it's going to go through 3 different checks. So number 1 will be employment check to make sure that you are able to confidently support employing migrants, and that will come down to things. They will be assessing your HR practices. Have you previously trained New Zealanders for the role, or are you actively trying to train New Zealanders for the role? How many migrants have you employed in the past? What were your advertising attempts were, your employment agreement, health and safety, all of those components. The second stage will be the job check. So they'll be looking at things like the salary you're offering, the location that you're in, whether or not you are an industry that requires a sector agreement, and what the occupation itself is. So we may see that different regions or different sectors get approvals for different types of occupations, but still waiting to see the final policy on that one. And then the third is the migrant check. So that's the same as it has been. Person will still need to go through character checks, medical checks, prove they're skilled for the role, prove their identity, all of that sort of information.
Thanks a lot, Charlotte. Very, very good overview of what's coming. Now, last Friday, Immigration New Zealand conducted a webinar for licensed advisors, and I believe there was another one for employers as well, where they introduced a timeline for those changes and the transition over to the new system. Alan, can you tell us what were the key dates that we need to remember in order to be ready as an employer to hire migrants after the changes or from the changes?
I mean, this has been known since 2019. We have been unsure as to when it was going to be implemented. Immigration have firmed up those timeframes just recently. As of last Friday, they announced those. This is probably the most major change by immigration policy that we've had for quite some time, and it's shifting the visa process from being employee-led to employer-led, which is a huge shift in focus. The focus now is on employers to be accredited with immigration before visas can be lodged. So all of this is going to unfold in the next 5 months, and so as far as the next 5 months and the timelines, the current accreditation for employers will be closed at the end of June. So in actual fact, we're suggesting there's no real point being accredited with immigration at this under the current/old policy. we'll be waiting until the applications open, which will be the end of September. So if you're accredited currently, you're going to have to be re-accredited under a new category. And end of September, they'll release and open applications for accreditation. And as of the 1st of November, they'll be enforcing that employers must be accredited before they'll accept new work visas being lodged. So it's going to unfold quite quickly in the next 5 months. We have a very solid understanding. We've been doing accreditation obviously for the last 10 years, have a good background within that. We know what's required. We are currently working with a whole bunch of employers to get prepared so we can lodge your accreditation as soon as that opens in end of September. Now, as far as the size, we're talking 25,000 employers across New Zealand, which, as you can imagine, is going to be a lot of urgency, and also to try and get your application at the earliest opportunity, particularly if you're going to be submitting work visas from beyond 1st of November this year. So we strongly suggest you get prepared now. We lodge those visas within the first day, if not the first week of that opening at the end of September. I think that's really important to keep continuity of business and make sure you can continue operating with using migrant workers.
Thanks, Alan. You raised a few good points there. There's an estimated 25,000 employees in New Zealand that will need some form of accreditation, one of the different tiers. So from 1st of November, if you need to support a migrant's work visa, not only for a new staff, but also existing staff having to renew their work visa, you will have to be accredited. So better get prepared now so we can submit your accreditation application come September. Charlotte, this one's for you maybe, because I believe we share the same recent experience. I had quite a few clients come to me a bit panicky about these changes potentially affecting pathways to residence. Can you reassure them on that front?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, we've been fielding a number of inquiries about this. A lot of people concerned that their pathway to residence is going to disappear or suddenly become harder. It's really important for people to know that the main pathway to residence, and immigration is putting an emphasis on this, will be the skilled migrant category. So that's been around for years. At this point, there's been no policy changes. Whether or not there are, we don't know. It's not something that's been floated by immigration as of yet. Still has the minimum requirement of the median wage, which at the moment is $25.50. However, where some people are getting confused is that immigration is now discussing, once obviously everyone who holds work to resident visas currently has gone through that life cycle, they will be introducing what is called a work to residence pathway, but will only be for people who are earning double the median wage. So at the moment, that's $106,080. So it will be a fast track process for those people, but everyone else, if you are earning below that rate, you will still be able to apply under the skilled migrant category.
All right, fantastic. That should reassure everyone. So this one for you, Charlotte, as well. I'm an employer. These changes are obviously quite massive. What about my existing staff? Do I need to do something immediately from 1st of November, or are they going to have to stop work? What if their visa is still valid for a couple of years? Do I need to become accredited from 1st November anyway?
That's probably a business decision that we can help chat through. So anyone who holds a current essential skills work to residence, one of those employer-based visas, they're still valid for a year or two. There's no action needed specifically for that person. But if you envision that you're going to need to hire migrants, whether it's someone who's already in New Zealand, or if you have someone whose work visa is expiring early 2022, or as border restrictions start to ease, you know you're going to start to want to hire staff from offshore as soon as you can, then it would probably be worth looking into that accreditation application sooner rather than later.
And what if, again, as an employer, I have staff on other kind of visas? Say, I've got staff working for me on a working holiday or on a post-study, on a job search visa, on a partnership visa. Are any of these changes going to affect them or me as an employer? Charlotte?
No, they won't. So the changes that are coming in really only do affect people on those employment-based visas. However, if you have someone who's on a working holiday visa or a post-study work visa that is open, and that's coming close to its expiry, and you know you're going to want to sponsor, or sorry, not sponsor, support them for a further visa, then you will need to be accredited.
Right.
So yeah, the key difference here is obviously if your employer, if it's employer driven, as far as the job opportunity and the work visa, then it will fall under this category. If it's not employer related, and there's quite a few visas in that category. I mean, post-study work visas are a classic example. So yeah, so it's the employer related work visas.
Great, thanks Alan for clarifying. I'll probably merge, those are questions that we did receive from employers, by the way. I'll probably merge the next two because they're similar. Do all companies need to be accredited from 1st November 2021? Does that mean even if I need, or if I currently have one migrant staff, or foresee that I'll need just one staff in the foreseeable future, I'm going to have to be accredited from November 1st?
So whether it's one staff or multiple, you're going to need to be accredited if there's a new visa application taking place. So if they apply, and that goes through the 3-step process again. The immigration will first check if you're accredited. They'll second check the actual job step phase, and thirdly they'll check the visa application. The migrant checks the health character, the qualifications.
What if the company is already accredited or has done only a few months? What happens on November 1st that we know? Is that going to roll over in any way, or are they going to have to become accredited under the new scheme?
Yeah, in order to, if there's a new work visa being lodged, they'll be assessed against the new accreditation system. So I would suggest that if your current migrants aren't staying in that role, then it's only at the point of a new visa application occurring where you'll be assessed against the new accreditation, and therefore you'll need to be accredited and get re-accredited against this new policy.
Can employers start the process now, Charlotte? And if so, what is our recommendation regarding what they can do? What are the next steps, essentially?
Absolutely. So you can definitely start the process now. We have a number of employers who have done so. Because we've been working through, the current accreditation policy for so long, we have quite a good understanding of what is likely to be requested. So what we're aiming to do is have all of these applications at least 80 to 90% ready, so that when policy is announced, we can actually just fill in the gaps and have that application ready to submit for the 1st of November. So yeah, as Alan said, we have 9 licensed advisors in the office who are able to assist. And you can reach out to us either through our website. So we have a employer's email address you can specifically reach out to our team through, and that's employers@newzealandshores.com, or pick up the phone and just touch base, and we can help you to assess what your needs are, what type of accreditation you need, when you need to submit that application. So yeah, get in touch.
Great, thank you. Thanks a lot for your time, and yeah, we hope to hear from you so we can start assisting.